Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, mathematicians. We are going to continue on with our different types of properties. We have already covered commutative, associative, and distributive properties. And I want to do some bonus properties for you. Identity property, the inverse property, and then closure. And closure is a little nebulous, but I'm going to put it out there anyway. I want to make sure that I'm giving you guys as much of an education as you can get. So, identity. The identity has a pretty simple idea. Identity. There we go. The identity property is the one where you do whatever it is you're adding or you're multiplying, and you get that same number back out. So, the identity property for addition would be, say, 7 plus 0, right, is going to give you 7. So this is our identity property, the plus 0 for addition. And then for multiplication, you can see I spell real low, multiplication, we have, let's say, 6 times 1 is still going to give us 6. So our identity property is the one that gets us our same number back out. In addition, you're going to be adding a 0. In multiplication, you're going to multiply by 1. And this actually comes in handy because when we talk about number 1, when we're trying to solve for something with fractions in it, need a common denominator, we play some games with the 1, but this is actually fairly useful to have. Alright, so I'm going to just move on from identity. I'm going to talk about the inverse. So the inverse is sort of the opposite of the identity. Inverse. So if I have, for addition, if I have the number 12, and I subtract 12, I'm going to get 0. Now, I could also have written this as 12 plus the negative 12, which is the opposite or the inverse of 12. So that would get me my 0. Alright, so if you remember on our identity, we added 0. Here we're getting to 0. This is our answer. So similarly, for multiplication, we're going to multiply by the inverse. And if you stop and think about when we talk about the inverse for multiplication, we're really talking about the reciprocal. So if I have 7 times 1/7, right, that's going to get me 7 over 7, right, because this is the same as a 7 over 1. So 7 over 7, which is a 1. And then if I were to, let's see, what else? Let me do another one. If I have variable, okay, if I have an A over B, and I want to do the multiplicative inverse, I'm going to have B over A. And again, this is going to give me an AB over AB, right? Because by the commutative property, I can move these guys around. So this BA is the same as an AB, which is a 1. So hopefully you're beginning to see that these properties are actually fairly useful in our process of doing math, even though we don't spend a whole lot of time on them in this particular class. And then closure, let me go up and clear this off. So closure is the idea that you're going to get a number back out when you have two numbers. So we can say, you know, identity, or what do I want? An integer, I guess. Integer plus an integer is going to get you an integer back out. Okay, so that would be a case of closure. So it's not like you're going to be able to say integer plus integer equals rutabaga. And it just doesn't happen that way. So closure means that under certain circumstances, whatever it is you put in is what you're going to get back out. Generally speaking, when we put something in a math problem, we're going to get a math back out or some kind of number back out. So hopefully this is making sense a little bit. And again, this is beyond what we need to know for this course, but I figured that it is a property and you might want to know about it. So in this case, integers under addition are closed. We talk about it being closed because no matter what you do, if you add an integer to another integer, you're always going to get an integer back out. Now, can I do that with division? Let's take a look. If I have an integer and I divide by another integer, there is no guarantee I'm going to get an integer back out. I'll get a real number, but I'm not going to get an integer back out. Like if I were to have 7 divided by 43, that is not certainly going to be an integer. So the answer is nope, not on that one. So the integers under division are not closed. So that's kind of basically what you should be thinking about, is that you get it, what you put in, you kind of get back out. And hopefully that will make some sense if you go on to other classes. And like I said, it's beyond what we need to know for this class, but I figured it would be, it is a property and you might as well know about it. So at this point, that is our video. Again, if you have questions, feel free to contact me or leave comments in the leave a question in the comments below and we will get back to you. Thanks.